Right, another week on the run. Definitely back in the swing of things now, but just a bit quiet, but just pressing on. So week commencing 15th of March this week, Monday the 15th of March today. Just quickly through my fuel cards. So UK Fuels, which is the Shell card for UK Fuels, they're both going up. It's 102.84. The BWOC or BWOC is 101.68. So obviously we use the box about just over one penny cheaper. With the VAT it works out bang on 122 pence per litre, 122. So I'll be having a look at the garages and the supermarkets and the drive past, but as I said before, I don't use supermarket fuel, but I think it still works out cheaper than supermarket fuel for branded fuel, and I just get invoiced weekly, makes things easier. So yeah, it's actually Monday afternoon now, just before 5 o'clock. Done 2 jobs today. I knew I was going to be a bit late starting this morning because I was still knackered over the weekend. Still knackered today, even though I had a lie-in this morning. Didn't rush to get up, didn't start looking for jobs until 10. I think I might just have a bit of a bug, to be honest. Hence why I just feel like I got very little energy, but AO. Yeah, got a job after not long really. Down to Bristol, picking up about 4 miles from home, from a warehouse. Turns out pallet and a half of office chairs. Delivered it down here to Bristol to like a sort of business park unit. And this is one of them jobs where I had to handball it off, but it didn't take any time really because I just put the pallets down in a van and put one box at a time by the door, and I just walked them into the premises. And I said when I got there, yeah, happy to handball it, but after I've had a forklift, they said no. He says, well, we can handball it, but I said to him straight away, I said, I have to leave everything with you, all packaging in pallets, because same day courier, I need to be empty for my next job. And he's like, yeah, fine. And then after handballing, he's like, oh, actually, we don't really need the pallets. Can you take them back with you? It's just like, no. I said, no, I have to go to the next job empty. People just assume wherever they've ordered stuff from, the van turns up from there, and then you go back empty. I think that's what happened. So he says, same day courier, I need to go to my next pickup empty. And he's like, all right, fair enough. So just left him with him. That's the line I always use. I've only ever got lumbered with pallets twice, I think, in a year I've been doing this. There's just a few people that were adamant they didn't want to keep them, but it's one of them things, isn't it? Yeah, then shortly after that, I nipped down the road to the supermarket, get something to eat, and then I just eat my sandwich, and I bid on a few jobs then, because it was like late morning-ish, early afternoon. Yeah, bid on a few jobs, and I ended up getting a short local job in Bristol, so long wheelbase job. Turned out it was half a mile down the road, so I was right on top of it. Picking up is a weight and return job. Well, not really weight, but picking up 2 lengths of ducting, taking them to some shop fitters who were fitting out a shop, obviously, on the other side of town, about 4 miles away. Leave them 2 lengths of them, pick up a length off them, which had been delivered in error, basically. They'd cocked up the order, the delivery, and bring that back to the pickup location. So it was like 8 miles all in on the job, half a mile from it, so less than 10 miles for the job, and 45 quid. So that job worked out well. 45 quid for less than 10 miles, just over £4.50 a mile, but obviously that's a good short job when they work out like that. And I looked at the timings on the app from when I accepted a job to when I complete the invoice. It was exactly an hour and a quarter. So it's like £36 an hour that works out at. So that's pretty good for a short job. Short local job. So overall, I've priced that first one. That it was 92 miles loaded. I was 4 miles from it. Priced at 87, so it's just under £1 a mile. And combined pounds per mile so far just worked out of interest, and £1.27 so far this day, but I've only done 104 miles. So yeah, it's 87 plus 45, 132 for the day, which isn't a lot obviously, but I started late. Like I said, pounds per hour is pretty high, so not a total disaster to the start of the week. Hopefully get some early doors out of Bristol. Nice to get something booked in tonight. But yeah, that's it so far. Right, update time, 2 o'clock Tuesday. So I tramped in Bristol yesterday, and then this morning ended up fairly early, and it was pretty slow to feed. Well, I wouldn't say it was slow initially, but then I did bid on the job and got offered it, but they're trying to knock me down too much, so I quoted 65 quid for Bristol to Banbury. I wasn't far from it, and he rang me up and said, can I do it for 55? And it's one of them things you're just thinking, what did I price that job? But it was a small van job. I put in the notes long wheelbase, and he goes, I know you're in a long wheelbase, but it's only a small van job, can you do it for 55? And I just said, politely said, oh sorry, I just can't, doesn't work for me at that. And that was it. I'm glad I did, because otherwise it would have been just under 70 pence a mile all in, and I was only like 2 miles from the pickup. I think that's why he wanted me to do it. But if I'd have gone in at maybe said meet him in the middle at 60, it would have been alright, and it would have got me going early doors. But when I arrived in Bristol yesterday, it was quite busy to feed, but this morning and this afternoon as well, it's just been really quiet, like quieter than it has. And I expected it to be, and it got to 11:45, excuse me, and I eventually picked up a job, again a small van job, out of centre of Bristol, I think they're like an accountancy firm, middle of Bristol, but it's really easy to get into the middle of Bristol at the moment. It's normally a bit of a traffic nightmare, but I find the quietest roads are the ones in the middle of town, particularly in like retail areas, and all these big offices. Nobody's going into the office or working from home, so yeah, got it really quick, just one box, and it's delivered. It said on the job Ross-on-Wye HR9, I think it is, but it's not quite Ross-on-Wye, it's right at the end of the M50. That's 48 miles loaded. I was a few miles from it. Went in at 45. I was just keen to get going at that point. So yeah, it didn't take me. It was just over an hour driving, 15 minutes to get there, or less, 10 minutes. And I was in and out each end really quick. So yeah, it worked out all right time-wise. Just under £1 a mile for a small van job. So it's not too bad. Obviously, I'm trying to get big, long jobs early doors, but it gets to midday, it's kind of like to take anything you can, I think. So, yeah, I tipped here to some quite nice house in a small village. Had a bit of a chat with her. Sounds like she normally commutes from here an hour into Bristol, but she said she hasn't been there in months and months and months. Working from home, it's probably just documents or something in this box. So I'm just gone down the road now to some entrance to a field and parked up, because I'm close to the M50. I'm only like 20 minutes from Gloucester, Ross-on-Wye, Hereford, all them kind of ways. I think I'm better off just out here rather than in the middle of Bristol, where it's really slow and there's loads of drivers looking for jobs. So yeah, here I am. Look, I'll show you a bit out of here. Nice bit of countryside, nice bit of view. Worst places to perch. Yeah, so that's Tuesday so far. A bit of a struggle. Right, Wednesday morning now, just before 9. Yeah, so I was sat in that lay-by, chilling out in the countryside. I did get a job, another job, about 3 o'clock-ish. It wasn't picking up till 4, but I was about 30 odd miles from it. A bit surprised to get this one. It was a long wheelbase job from Worcester to Wolverhampton, WV2, and back again, so wait and return, 60 miles in total. I went in at 75 quid, like I say, long wheelbase. Got it. First time I've done work for this shipper. I think they don't pay a great deal, but I got this one. In the end, it did turn out to be a 3-hour job, so it's like 25 quid an hour, but in terms of loaded miles, the rate's pretty decent. Obviously, it's over £1 a mile, but I was 30 miles from it, so I think it worked out about 80p all in. Considering where I was sat and stuff and how quiet it's been, I was quite happy to get it. Quite an interesting job. Picked up from a foundry where they cast aluminium engine parts, so engine blocks and cylinder heads and all sorts, and timing covers and all sorts. It's quite interesting. I'm actually an automotive engineer by profession, kind of. So I actually got a degree in automotive engineering, but I never really worked in automotive engineering. My sort of career took me down a path of more heavy engineering. I tried a few other things after that, but yeah, so it's quite interesting for me to go to this place. I picked up 16 4-cylinder Maserati engine blocks, which is quite interesting because you think Maseratis are big posh cars. Don't expect them to have just a normal straight 4-cylinder block, so I was a bit curious about that one. So they were rough cast, they'd just been cast, and I took him to this place in Wolverhampton called something fettling. So fettle, you know, fettle something, but in terms of casting, it's like removing all the rough cast there, rough edges and stuff. So this company basically are there, you know, small unit. I was expecting it to be quite a big sort of professional place, but it was just like a small company in a unit. You buy a posh car, the engine parts and stuff have been, you know, fettled in a quite a small company in Wolverhampton. Just yeah, quite surprising. You know, this place is just full of, they're obviously grinding metal all day, just filings of aluminium all over the place. The guy was absolutely covered head to toe. He just looked grey. Quite interesting. So I dropped them off, and then I picked up a pallet of 4-cylinder engine blocks, which were Alfa Romeo, and then another half pallet or part pallet with 5 V8 blocks on it, and it turns out they were for some new marine diesel outboard engine. Quite interesting. Need to market. Outboard diesels are quite new. So I was doing a bit of research on them on my phone last night. It's quite interesting. Yeah, took them back and then dropped them off. So I'm in Worcester now, north part of Worcester, Blackpool. It's an area I know reasonably well, this, because I used to do Amazon Flex a lot in my car out of Droitwich depot, and I used to deliver to like Worcester quite a bit, in particular this area seemed to get quite a lot. I delivered some government food parcels here, and I did that for 6 weeks or whatever it was last year. Did it around here a few times. Yeah, and when I used to do flex in my car here, I used to, in between flex blocks, used to do one in the late morning, one in the evening. I used to deliver Uber Eats basically from this McDonald's behind me in this retail park, Blackpool retail park. So yeah, tramped in the industrial estate by this foundry yesterday. Nice and quiet, loads of trucks there. It's obviously a well-known tramping spot. Yeah, nice wide roads and no security guards or anything like that. They don't mind tramping there. Yeah, so that's the day so far. So hopefully a bit of a crap day earnings wise yesterday, you know. 45 for the first job and 75 for that, so it's like 120, which is obviously pretty pants, but pence a mile wasn't horrendous, wasn't fantastic either. Really need a better day today, so today being Wednesday, so yeah, fingers crossed for a better day. Right, still Wednesday, sort of early to mid-afternoon now, can't remember the exact time. I got a job about 10:15 this morning out of a place called Great Malvern. Malvern, it apparently is, not Malvern, as I've been told by some black country buddies. Yeah, they get annoyed with me when I call it Malvern. Yeah, it was a small van job, so I priced it all the way through at 75 pence a mile. I got it. A bit surprised to get it, really. It's a bit surprising what you get sometimes. It's slightly out of the way, Great Malvern. I'm still like 25 minutes from it. Got it anyway. So yeah, loaded miles. Can't remember what it was, but it's way over like 65p a mile. Picking up 2 boxes from just like an industrial unit, a small one. I'm delivering them over here to a place called St Ives, close to Huntington, not St Ives in Cornwall. Yeah, so I actually set my location to here to St Ives before I left. And I totally forgot, the main St Ives in Cornwall, and then I got here and I was wondering why I had notifications for Truro in Cornwall. So you got to the bottom of that one. Dropped off that unit over there. Yeah, it's one of these jobs where it's 2 boxes, you can carry them both at the same time, no weight to them. 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes each end to load and unload. So yeah, clear run down here. Pretty quiet here. There was a job that kept getting posted, but it was Multidrop, and I didn't get here till sort of 1:30ish. And then it was said in the notes for the job, DX deliveries, had to go to the DX depot, get paperwork, go meet a driver somewhere, and it gave the postcode, and it was like 30 odd miles from Huntington where the depot is. Get some drops off him, there's obviously struggling, deliver them, and then take the paperwork back to Huntington. I thought that could be a bit of a nightmare job, but if we're going at like 180, makes the day alright. And I was like humming and hawing a bit about it, and then I checked out the guys' feedback. Not a great deal of feedback, but paying wise, I think you had 9 positive in the last 90 days and 4 negative. So that just made my mind up. I wasn't ever going to go for that. It's not been on the CX long because his number was within 100 of my membership, so he must be on there about a year, a bit less than me. Yeah, so here I am. So very quiet the feed. Hopefully get something else for the rest of this day, but while I'm waiting, and it's quite a nice day outside, it's quite sunny and warm, I'm using the time productively. So basically this bit up here I haven't insulated, and I can't really put mineral wool insulation in there, so I'm just stuffing it the same as this side with bubble wrap, and I'm going to put this foil stuff over the top. Right behind that, you can see, is expanding foam. The reason I've not done it here, expanding foam that bit, but there's no cables there, whereas here you've got the cables going to this light, and then on this side the wiring loom runs down that side and does all the lights and stuff at the back. So I thought I might as well use the time productively, and but still obviously checking the feed, hoping to get a job soon. Right, just a very quick update. Still Wednesday night now. That was the only job I did. So it was like 97 quid and probably just under 75 pence a mile, all miles. It's a shocker. It's not going very well this week. But I have got a job lined up for tomorrow morning. Multidrop. So the same guy who's posting all the jobs, pick up from a driver, and it sounds like a right faff. They posted again for jobs for the morning, starting at 6:30. I was thinking, well, if it's 6:30, then I can get there, and it's an early start, so hopefully you can get it done by like mid-afternoon, and maybe pick something else afterwards as well. That thing with the old feedback and stuff, but I'm just going to take a chance. Not massively keen on the job, it's quite a risk, so I thought, well, day multi-drop long wheelbase tends to be like 160, but I thought, not massively keen on it, so just put a cheeky quote in. I went in at 195. Didn't ring me straight away, but like 10 minutes later rang me. Excuse me. Got the job. So yeah, early start tomorrow morning. Hopefully they just say, yeah, there they are, mate. It's supposed to be like 40 or 50 drops. It's it's DX delivery, which is one I did a few weeks ago down south, and it wasn't overly big stuff, so hopefully it's not massive stuff, because they do have quite a lot of 7.5 tonners, but obviously they're not going to give me that stuff. I hope not, no. Just won't take it. yeah, so that's it. Hopefully it will turn out okay. Bit of a risk, this one, but it's definitely still beggars can't be choosers. Bit of a shocker so far this week, so I will know by the end of tomorrow afternoon, and you will know in a few seconds. Well, what an absolutely shitty day that was. This multi-drop didn't go very well. Where to start? Yeah, so I kept in this retail park in Huntingdon. If anyone's from this part of the world, Sports Direct. Outside of Sports Direct. No parking restrictions. Yeah, so kept here last night. Got up 5:15 to kind of get everything packed away. There's a McDonald's here, so I went and got myself a coffee. First person through the drive-thru at 6. And then there's a Tesco around the corner. I should have realised things weren't going to go right. In Tesco, got my meal deal for the day, and yeah, it's one of these pay self-tills. Didn't want to take my pound notes, so tried several notes, didn't work. Go to another machine, that one's faffing around, and I'm trying to get it done quickly so I could have my breakfast and my coffee before I started and get over to the depot, parcel depot. It's only a few miles away, and then yeah, so now it's only a small thing, but it's one of my pet hates. What I find is when I go and park in like a big car park, I'm in a habit because I'm in a big van, even in my own cars anyway. I don't park as close as I can to the door. I normally park well away from the door where there's plenty of space, so you're not squeezing in and out. Massive car park in Tesco. I'm there just after 6, so it's empty. Don't even park near the door because I'm in the habit of parking a bit far away. So I just park up in the store, faffing around with a sandwich and the till, come back out, and someone is parked right next to me. All this room, just pet hate really annoys me, yeah. And you're there trying to squeeze in the door, because not only did somebody park there, but it parks too close as well. Just, yeah. So them two things got me thinking, is that a sign for the day? Got over to the depot. Initially went quite well. There's vans outside the depot loading, and they got my paperwork, so I had all the postcodes on the paperwork. So instead of, I thought I was doing it on the paperwork, so put them into Road Warrior off the paperwork, so I can plan my route. It was split on 2 different types, because there's 2 different types of parcels or something, which I didn't really understand, which is a bit of a pain, but no big deal. So put them all in, optimise the route, go through the paperwork and write drop number on them, ready for when I can get in, get me parcels. And it's a very small unit really. Bit of an insight into these smaller units that these parcel delivery companies are using now. So everywhere I've worked before, they tend to sort parcels there, so a big lorry will come in, and I used to do it for Yodel when it was called Business Express. I did it for like 2 or 3 months in the early 2000s, it would have been. So yeah, you got a big attic trailer, and they put a little conveyor in, and you chuck them all out, and then they've got sorters sort them into routes. But what they do in these places is it's sorted elsewhere, probably in the big depot, and it just comes on cages that haven't got wheels, so they're all moving around with forklifts and pump trucks. So anyway, yeah, smaller unit, the unit's full of these cages, so there's nowhere to load inside, so you're loading outside. It wasn't too bad an issue I thought today, because it wasn't raining. So eventually get a bay, line out all my parcels, ready to mark them all up with the drop number on them. Just as I've lined them all up, it starts to rain, and rain quite hard as well. So I had them in rows, so I thought, well, if I leave them there, everything's just going to get absolutely soaked. So I just had to put them in a van in sub postcodes. So I was doing PE11, which was Spalding. So P11-1 down the driver's side of the van, P11-4 down the passenger side of the van, and then 3 and 2 in the middle, coming backwards. And I thought, at least that way I've got more of a chance to find them, rather than if they're all just jumbled in together. I was told in a job 40 to 50 drops, it said usually 40 to 50 drops. turns out I had 57 different postcodes and probably more like mid-60s, 65 or so separate drops, and some of the drops had loads of like businesses and loads of parcels. I had 15 large boxes for one pharmacy, the kind of thing that some people would be phoning shippers and asking for handball in charge for, but you just have to crack on. So get all loaded. I spoke to the guy because I was supposed to be signing off, checking I got all the checking all the barcodes against the parcels they've been given to make sure I've got everything, or if anything is missing to query it. But it was really, I thought I'd do that while I was marking up. I spoke to the guy, the subbies who do work for the parcel firm, got the contract I presume. I told him, you know, I haven't been able to do that because it started pissing it down and we're loading outside, so I had to get him in the van, and he says okay, just have to crack on. You know, all's fine, great, yeah, shoot off. 45 or 50-minute drive to first drop. 10 minutes from the first drop he rings me up. Oh, you forgot to take your collections. I'm like, what collections? He goes, oh yeah, there's collections. It said 40 to 50 drops. And he goes, oh yeah, sorry, yeah, it's collections, I should have said. And you've left 4 parcels. And I took all the parcels I was told. I emptied all the cases I was told. And these are all small things and some envelopes. I think they just hadn't been put in the right place. So option was drive all the way back and get it, or stop in Peterborough and he'd eventually bring them to me. So I stopped in Peterborough and I just carried on while I was waiting for him to come. I went and marked up all the parcels that I could until he turned up. Didn't quite finish it by the time he turned up, but I did get a bit more written down and a bit more ordered in the back. Got my stop, some extra parcels, sorry, and my collections labels. And some of the collections were COVID samples. I mean, I'm not bothered about doing COVID stuff, COVID work and samples, but a lot of shippers will at least mention it, you know, because some people might not want to do it. But anyway, that was part of it. So yeah, cracked on, delivering. On the way to the first drop, like just after I'd seen him, he rings me up and goes, oh, yeah, you need to do the before 10 o'clock deliveries, priority deliveries first, then the before 12:30s, and then the rest you can just do the standard delivery, just do them when you do them in, just get them done, you know, no particular rush, just get them done today. I was just like, can you do that? And I just politely said no, not a hope, because a bit too late to mention it, and it just means I would have been covering the same ground twice, so you'd have to cover the whole area, the whole of P11, which was Spalding was the biggest town in there, and a fair few of them were there, but then there was some right out in the fens in the countryside. I said I haven't got time for that, and how am I going to know? I don't even know what parcels are what and what label means that and all that stuff. So yeah, I just said no, I can't do that. It says I've got enough. If I just do them in the order that my optimization has given me, I'd be hard pushed to get them done today anyway. And he's oh, you think you'll struggle? And I was like, well, quite possibly. I don't know the area, but I've got 60 odd drops. So yeah, he said he'd get back to me about the parcel delivering the priority ones, but he didn't. And he did get back to me. He arranged for somebody to come and take some parcels off me, so I had to meet some guy. He took about 10 drops off me, and then he gave me some of them back afterwards, so I had to meet him for a second time, 3 times actually, because then he forgot to give me his COVID collections, so we had to meet up with him a 3rd time. And he wasn't going back to a depot, so he'd finished his round, so I took all his collections and stuff, and he was, after he'd helped me, he went and helped somebody else. But anyway, it just turned into an absolute fucking crazy day, really, running around at a blue arse fly, and just, yeah, I could see why they were asking for people yesterday on the CX to do jobs, picking up part finished jobs, stuff like that. Spalding's quite a nice place, small little town, quite picturesque and old in the middle, but a bit of a pain. Lots of one-way streets and pedestrianised areas. Out in the countryside's pretty nice, but it does smell of cabbage around here, that's for sure. As I think I heard on a radio I was listening to before, I think like 2/3 of the country's vegetables coming from East Anglia and Lincolnshire and stuff. Something ridiculous like that. But yeah, you can smell it as you drive around. It's quite funny. Yeah, so that was that day, and then the guy phones me up at the end of the day. The guy who booked me yesterday, he phoned me up twice actually. He phoned me up early afternoon. He says, "How's it going? Blah blah blah. If there's anything we can do to help, give us a ring." And I thought, alright, that's a bit, I think he's trying to butt me up for doing it again tomorrow. Sure enough, an hour later he phones me up, yeah, are you available tomorrow? So of course I said yes. So I was kind of thinking, it's Friday tomorrow, it's quiet out here on the general haulage, light haulage. At least if I do it, and I've told him if I do it I want the same area, because I kind of know Spalding now. And I know a bit more about the ins and outs. I can get properly sorted in a depot, leave, not have to faff around, just whiz around and get it done. I did tell him though, if I'm working off paper with my own route planner, don't expect them doing like 10:30 and 12:30 drops, they'll all be treated the same. And he kind of like avoided the question really, and I says, unless you give me one of your scanners and show me how to use it, and then that plans it in based on times and stuff. But yeah, so we'll wait and see tomorrow. So yeah, I did work out it's like £1.32 a mile today. Did 147 miles for 195 quid, so that's the only good thing. Obviously miles per gallon is slightly lower doing this kind of work, but not massively lower in this van, I've noticed, because it uses quite a lot of fuel when you're at high speeds, because it's quite a big tall van. That's what's behind that. Yeah, so what time is it now? 9:30. Gonna go to bed very shortly. Up at 5:15 again. Get that done. Hopefully have a better day, and then get home. And then that kind of like save my day, save my week. 2 times 195 days. It's kind of needed really to save the week. That's why I'm doing it. So. Yeah, that is a long update, but it was quite a busy day, quite a full-on day, yeah. Anyway, later. Right, Sunday afternoon now, but yeah, just Friday went okay. I did some more of that multi-drop, did the same round. So yeah, picked up in the depot, Huntingdon, delivered to PE11. Forget what the town's called now mainly, but yeah, bit different on the Friday in terms of I wasn't working on the paper sheets manifest. They gave me one of their little handheld devices, which is basically was a Samsung phone with just their app on it. So that made it easier in some ways, but more difficult in others because it was a bit ridiculous, to be honest. So yeah, it was quite good that you scanned all the parcels on. It told you if you had all the parcels you should have in your van, so that was quite good. And then it optimized the route, but it didn't have navigation in this app, so it would just tell you what your next drop was, the address and the postcode, and I was putting that into Google Maps and doing it. And it was fine delivering to business addresses because it just had to put the name of the person who accepted the parcel, but when it's delivering to residential, which most of it was just ridiculous. It was like a drop-down menu, 4 boxes, so I had to say how many doorbells there were in the first drop-down, what colour the letterbox was, the second drop-down box, and the third one was what colour door, and then the fourth one was just like loads of options, but most of it was either you could choose either frosted or unfrosted glass on the door. So it's just absolutely ridiculous, yeah. And before that I had to take a photo of the front door anyway, so it was a bit awkward sometimes because you'd walk up to the door, take a photo of it, and they'd see you outside, so they'd come to get the parcel, and you're just like, oh, hang on a minute, I just need to go through and select all these. And I told the customers what I had to select, and some of them like couldn't believe it. It was just like really awkward and even embarrassing at times. So it was just, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I felt more like a surveyor at times than a parcel delivery guy, and it just takes time as well. It's tedious because I'm pretty sure I did 80 drops that day, which is way more than it said in the job. But when they scanned it all and then we optimised the route, I gave the thing to the guy at the depot, and I reckon it obviously worked out timing. And he said my last drop was a 2-hour window, so just before 4 o'clock. It was just before 3 o'clock or just before 5 o'clock, so that 2-hour window. So he said to me, oh, you should be done by 4. Absolutely no chance. Well, done by 3, he said. I was thinking that's unlikely, but I was losing time when I was in the middle of town doing all these deliveries to businesses and stuff on where I should have been on the schedule. But I thought that's just because I'm in the middle of town, and you know, like it's pretty awkward one-way streets, and even though town was really quiet because of COVID, and lots of like pedestrianised zones and all that kind of stuff. But even when I got out into the suburbs on the outskirts of town, and then into the countryside, doing like houses in the country and farms and all that malarkey, even then I was losing time. I couldn't keep up with it. So I reckon when I was at Yodel, they called it dwell time. In these things, you set how long it's going to take you for each drop, so it can easily work out how long it's going to take to drive the route. But then he set something. So when I was at Yodel, most people were on like 2 minutes 40, but sometimes you could put it lower because you had to stay within your time thing, so you didn't want it to be too slow or too fast, otherwise it would cause you an issue. But I reckon he put this dwell time, or whatever they call it, for this firm really low to make it look like I should get it done. I did get it done in the end, but I didn't do my last drop until 5:30. Got back to the depot just before 6:30. Bit of a wait at the depot to unload. I'm really keen to go through what you're bringing back and stuff. So I didn't get done until 7, and an hour and a half drive home. So that was Friday. Only did 135 miles though, and it was another 195 for the day, which is quite a high rate for a multi-drop, so I'm not keen on doing it again. Not that I've heard from the shipper, but it did kind of save my week. So anyway, weekly summary. So Monday, as ever, these are my pre-VAT costs. This is what I charged on the CX without the VAT being added on top, and I get to keep some of that because I'm on the VAT flat rate scheme. Obviously costs to come out of this, and then I'll leave my profit, and then that's what I'm taxed on, so that's my income essentially. So Monday, 2 jobs, 87 and 45 for £132. Tuesday, 45 and 75 for 120. Wednesday, shocker, 1 job at 97. So up to that point I was really doing crap, so at least these 2 Thursday, Friday days, you know, they're really long days, like 13 hours and 12.5 hours, and it's only 195 quid. I say only, but at the moment it's hard to earn that a day, so they kind of like save my week. So yeah, Thursday, Friday, 195 for both of them, for each of them days. Brought my total to 739 for the week, which is slightly lower than what I've been doing of late. It's £147.80 a day. But mileage was really low this week because Monday I did well, pence per mile, because I did a minimum charge job around Bristol, I think it was, wasn't it? Which bumped up my pence per mile overall for that day. And then, like I say, Thursday, Friday on the job was about 135 and 140 miles, something around that region for both days. And I was getting 195 for the day. I did have 92 miles dead to get home on a Friday. So 756 miles for the day. So my overall pence per mile, all miles from leaving here on a Monday to getting back on the Friday, loaded and unloaded, 97.7 pence a mile. So yeah, overall money's a bit down, but my costs are down as well, so it's pretty much on a par, I'd say, with what I've been earning of late, which is kind of like scraping a living to paying my living costs kind of thing at the moment. But the way things are, with COVID and the lockdowns and the quiet time of year, at least I'm scraping a living, but I'm working hard for it. And as I've said before, that's just how it is at the moment. So I reckon it's another 3 more weeks now until April the 12th, which is when non-essential retail opens, outdoor pubs open, things like that. That's when the economy will start to open up. I listen to the radio a fair bit when I'm going around. I do listen to music, but I also listen to things like Radio 4. I started listening to Times Radio. It's quite good. This guy called Matt Chorley, he's quite funny. And it's about politics and all sort of kind of stuff. And I was listening this week, and the Bank of England, they were saying they reckon the economy would go back to where it was pre-COVID. They were expecting it to go like early to mid 2022, but the way the vaccine program's going, well, they predict now it's going to go back to where it was pre-COVID by the end of this year. So that's pretty good. So bearing in mind where we are now, when it opens up, I really hope it's going to be booming and stuff. So I reckon another 3 weeks, then we'll start to see some noticeable pickup, I think. So I just got to plod on for another 3 weeks. Almost thinking I might take a few more days off, because get a few things done that I need to do before it gets busy. Rather than scrape a living now, and then when it is busy and I can earn a good money, having to take time off to get stuff done. One thing with tramping away all week, you don't get the evenings to sort stuff out, bits around the house and just crap like that. And come the weekend, I've still got jobs to do in the van in the back. I want to box in the diesel heater and panel, box in the fuel tank I put in. If you have bits and bobs around the van and got stuff to do at home, when you're away Monday to Friday, weekends you plan to do these jobs, but I just don't get around to them a lot of time. Keep putting it off because I just want to relax and chill out a bit and enjoy the weekend. So yeah, that's the week so far. Yeah, just got to keep plodding on. Thanks for watching. As ever, any comments, please put them below. Anything that will help me or others who might watch this. Cheers for watching.